Okay, so now we're going to do some examples that combine both multiplication and adding and subtracting like terms. So when you're doing this, you need to remember that you kind of do this in a specific order. Remember our order of operations, and the first thing we're always going to do first is any multiplication. This could mean distributing, this could mean using your FOIL. But you are going to do that multiplication, and then the second thing you want to do is the actual addition or subtraction or combining like terms, however you want to write that. But again, multiplication first, then addition, subtraction. So if we look at this first example, we're doing 3 times 7x plus 8 plus 12 times x minus 8. So the first thing we want to do is distribute this 3 to the 7x and to the 8, and then we want to distribute the 12 to the x and the negative 8. Okay, so when we do that, that is going to give us 21x plus 24, and that will be plus 12x, and 12 times 8 is going to be a minus, would be 96. So now that we've done our multiplication, now we can actually look at our adding and subtracting. Remember, we're going to do like terms. So for instance, we can add together the 21x and the 12x since those are both x's. So that would end up getting us 33x's since they're both positive. And then the next thing we would do would be to subtract here. We've got our 24 and our 96. We would subtract those. That's going to give us a negative 72. So our answer here would be 33x minus 72. So on our next one, we're going to look at here, we've got the 2x times negative 2x squared minus 5, and then we've got negative 4 times x cubed plus 7x. Again, we're going to start with our multiplication, so that means that we've got to distribute this 2x to both of those terms. That's going to give us a negative 4x cubed minus 10x. And then when we do this negative 4 here, I want you to make sure that you keep that negative with that 4. So we're going to do negative 4 times x cubed and then negative 4 times 7x. So it's going to give us a negative 4x cubed and a negative 28x. And then again, just like before, we can talk about grabbing our like terms. So we're going to start off with our x cubes. We've got negative 4x cubed and another negative 4x cubed. Be really careful because it's easy to say that these guys cancel, but since they're both negative, we are going to add them and keep their sign. So this would be negative 8x cubed. Our next set of like terms comes with our x's here. We've got negative 10x and negative 28x. Again, those are both negative, so we're going to add them and get negative 38x. And so our answer for this one would be negative 8x cubed minus 38x. Now on number 3, notice that my multiplication that I have to do here is actually foiling. I need to do my first, outer, inner, last. Or if you remember back in section 4.2 or pre 4.2, we talked about the quick method where we can actually add the 5 and the 7 to get our center term and multiply the 5 and the 7 to get our last term. So whichever one you're more comfortable with. I'm going to go ahead and do FOIL so you can remember that, but again, it's whatever you're more comfortable with. So we've got x times x is going to give us x squared. We're going to do x times 7, that's going to give us plus 7x. Then we're going to do the inside, that's going to be 5 times x, that's plus 5x. And we're going to do the last, which is going to give us a plus 35. Now notice on the second one, we're not actually distributing anything out to the 5x squared, the negative 7x, and the 10. We're just adding this polynomial. So we can actually drop those parentheses around this second term and just bring him straight down, keeping his signs the way they are. Now we can start with our combining like terms. So we can start with our x squared. So we've got 1x squared plus 5x squared. That is going to give us 6x squared. We also have a 7x plus a 5x minus a 7x. Now, if I'm kind of doing a little bit of cheating, I know that this 7x and this 7x are going to cancel each other out since they are a plus and a minus. So positive 7x minus 7x is no x's. But I still have this 5x left over, so I'm going to bring that down, plus 5x. And then my last set of like terms is the 35 here and minus 10 here. Oops, excuse me, that's not a minus 10, that's a plus 10. There we go. Don't be like your teacher, make sure you're bringing your signs down correctly. So we have 35 plus 10, which would give us 45. So plus 45. Okay, so for our last example, it is actually just like the previous one. It's just written in a condensed form. So what you need to do first is take this guy and actually write him out and say x minus 8 times x minus 8. It's very important that you do that before you do your FOIL, because if you don't and you just say it's x squared minus 8 squared, you're going to miss your center term of your FOIL. So we do need to have it written out like that. Again, you can use the quick method to multiply this out, or you can actually go do the full-on FOIL. So we're going to do x times x, which is x squared, x times negative 8, which is negative 8x, negative 8 times x, which is negative 8x as well, and then negative 8 times a negative 8, which is going to make that a positive 64. And just like before on the other side here, we're just going to bring this guy straight down. So plus 3x squared minus 4x minus 3. And again, combining our like terms. So we've got an x squared and a 3x squared. That's going to combine together to give us 4x squared. And then we've got our x's. So we've got a negative 8x and another negative 8x. And then a negative 4x. So notice they are all negative numbers, so we are going to add them and keep their sign. So 8 and 8 would give us 16, plus 4 would give us 20, it would be a negative 20x. And then for our last set of like terms, we have a positive 64 minus 3, so that's going to be a positive 61. And so our answer here would be 4x squared minus 20x plus 61.